I can seem to see
Okay.
that for some reason we're back on intermission. Yeah, indeed. Oh, it's switching back. Alright, we should be back now. Sorry about that.
Alright, cool.
Alright, seems like we're good to go now.
Perfect.
Alright, Vicious Re, I assume you guys are ready to go. Okay, I guess I'll do a countdown. Starting from 6. Alright. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Board. Alright, so this is Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, also known as Luigi's Mansion 2, the second game in the series. Today we are doing a lockout race, so basically both our runners are competing to get more spaces than the other person. When a space is taken by someone, no one else can have it. The main story of this game is that King Boo has broken the Dark Moon, which causes, when it's intact, it causes ghosts to not be hostile, but when he broke it, that causes all the ghosts to attack him. The pieces get sent to different mansions, and Luigi has to go rescue the pieces. There are 5 mansions in total in the game. Each mansion consists of a few story missions, a boss, and an optional bonus mission at the end. In total, there are 34 levels to complete in the game, and each level can be accessed from a main hub known as the bunker. Being able to access a lot of different areas offers a lot of variety for Bingo. So, hopefully this is a pretty exciting race. Flair, Blars, you guys want to introduce yourself and talk about the game a little bit?
Most certainly, Rex, thank you for such a great intro. My name's Flair, and currently right now, I'm going to start talking a little bit about what our runners are currently doing in terms of spaces. And at the moment, Riidolsk is taking a death right now, currently in B bonus. He's going to restart the mission now, and I think he's going to try and complete that mission to be able to start working towards the bottom left corner space, which was 3 bonus missions. There are bonus missions at the end of every mansion in the game, and those are unlocked when you collect and capture the boos scattered in each level. There's 1 per level, excluding the boss mission, and when you complete all those, you do unlock a bonus mission. There's 5 for the 5 mansions, and we only require runners to do 3 of them. So Riidolsk can start working on those, as well as working on dying 2 times in different mansions. So I'm going to guess that on the next bonus mission, Riidolsk would do that. And as for Vicious, I believe Vicious currently is working on all Gold Greenies Gloomy. Gold Greenies are basically the equivalent to Speedy Spirits in the first Luigi's Mansion game. So as a reward for collecting them and finding them as a secret, you get a bunch of gold. So there are, I believe, about 6 or 7 in Gloomy, and I'm just gonna go for all of those to mark off his first space.
Looks like Riidolsk is also doing this current bonus mission, low percent. I don't know if you brought that up at all. Basically, low percent means that you are completing the mission without any gold. For Bingo, we do allow stuff like gems and boos in this case. The biggest rule for low percent is just avoiding gold. There are 3 types of gold pieces. There are coins that are 1 gold, bills are 5, and gold bars are 20. With the bills and the gold bars, if you get any of those, you're not actually able to drop them. But if you pick up coins by letting a ghost drag onto you, you can actually lose those coins. But in general, low percent is just trying to not touch any gold as possible. Lars, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Lars, speedrun this game, and I have a few records. Vicious got he searched a fake door. I think there are only 4 total fake doors in the room, and the space requires 4. I think there are 2 in treacherous, and then there's 1 in haunted. I have quite a bit of delay, so I might be behind his mining, but I have nothing else to say.
Looks like Riidolsk is also going after those fake doors. As you can see, he just ran into one. On the mini-map, which you aren't able to see, that's on the bottom screen of the 3DS. You can tell what is a fake door and what isn't, based on fake doors appear gray on the mini-map, and real doors appear to be green. As you can see, a while back he got slammed by a door that was opening in on him. That was, in fact, a fake door. They do damage to you.
Real's going to keep continuing here to kind of just sift through his stuff. Through Haunted Tower is going to be doing a game that closely resembles one of Rex's favorite games, being Duck Dynasty. This game kind of requires you to shoot this mouse to collect this gem. When you complete that, you can collect the gem. And I believe Riidolsk now sits at roughly 5 gems. I think he's collected 5 of them so far, maybe 4. I have unfortunately not been able to keep count. But he is still making some progress towards completing 12 gems haunted, which is almost all of the gems inside the dimension. There are 13 total, but for the sake of bingo, we allow runners to exclude 1 based on the circumstance of whatever the board is or whatever they're doing. I believe now Vicious is also going to be working towards 3 bonus missions, so it's going to be interesting to see the dynamic here and who's going to try and get through the bonus missions first. I think Riidolsk trying to go for deaths inside of this as well as trying to get gems might contribute a little bit to a downfall later on in terms of being able to claim that space, but we'll see how his time management plays out as Vicious kind of sits through here and gets through a bonus and might move on to another mansion.
Bonus missions in
So
this
it looks
game have quite a bit of RNG in them. Which ghosts appear in which rooms, which causes a lot of pain if you're trying to speedrun them. Rex would know, he has all the records. But usually,
yeah, it's very difficult to speedrun them. Go ahead.
But usually in these bingo games, it's usually nowhere close to what the record is. I'm not exactly sure what the record is for a bonus, but I think it's right under 2 minutes.
That's 143. I actually got that Christmas Day. My math could be wrong, but I think the chance of getting the best RNG or best luck, basically what RNG means, it's an acronym for random number generator. The chance of getting what I had in my run is about 1 in 200,000, I believe. Yeah, and bonus missions, we don't spend time like resetting for best luck. We just take what we get because that's faster than going in between missions. Looks like Riidolsk just collected another gem. Looks like he's going into some rooms that will be able to get him a few more. He's about to get 1 more. This might be the final one. Yep, he just marked off 7 gems haunted. My guess is he's going to finish this bonus mission and then head out of here into another mansion so he can mark off the die 2 times in different mansion space, as well as also working on the 3 bonus mission space. I know he was originally low percenting this. I don't know if he's sticking with that.
I think he might still be sticking to that. I also think that it's probably interesting that I have thought about this. I think it'd be good for Riidolsk to maybe try and clear off some other spaces while he has the time to, because I think since him marking off 7 gems haunted might discourage Vicious a little bit from wanting to take 12 gems haunted, as it would not suit enough time. So I think that might be something to keep in mind moving forward, as Riidolsk can come back to that later and stick to some other more competitive spaces that would not require so much time out of both runners that they could probably both kind of race for. Vicious finishing off there on a bonus, getting a 316. We're going to see what his next move is, whether he's going to continue going through doing bonus missions, or if he's going to do low percent, which I think Vicious actually did do just now. I think he did low percent that level. So that might be very good for him in order to keep going through the other levels and mark off that space as well.
Oh yeah.
You may see some of the runners do what's called a drain suck up on greenies. It's where they use no gauges and they just suck it up. It's actually about 0.35 seconds faster if you do it optimally. And you might also see them do what's called a fast suck up. It's where you spam at a certain speed or just release at a certain time. And it almost gets rid of the suck up animation that you get when you when that ghost health gets to 0. It's not easy to do, but these are both experienced players, so we might see quite a few of those.
Yellow.
Yeah, I would say these are probably the two best runners, or two of the best that we have right now, especially compared to last year. They were very competitive, the world records that they were trying to go for, so I think having them both in a game competing on a bingo space, on a bingo board in this fashion, I think is really cool. It's probably our most competitive event we have yet, and hopefully it turns out pretty well. Seems pretty even so far.
It is sticking pretty even at the moment. Vicious is going to be going ahead and starting on Clockworks gems to claim out 7 Clockworks gems. I'm not sure if he's going to be trying to go for 2 gems, 5 mansions. That is a space available for the runners to go for. I don't believe he got any gems while he spent his time in Gloomy, which may lead me to believe that he's not going for that space. But if he did, there is a strong possibility that he will be going for that space moving forward. And he's going to be going now into C bonus. This is a good way for him to not only get gems, but also to get through another bonus mission. And if he low percents this, he can probably knock out low percent 2 levels before Riidolsk can. And I think Riidolsk right now is also starting in C bonus. Both runners going to be trying to accomplish a similar task, but with Vicious currently having a bit of a head start ahead of Riidolsk. We'll see how their RNG plays out and how them achieving the gems plays out throughout the rest of this level.
One interesting thing is, even though there are 34 levels sometime in the game, sometimes you have moments like this where they actually end up in the same thing, doing very similar things. Looks like Vicious is going for the route where he's trying to get gems, and Reed just marked off the die 2 times in different mansions. This is Old Clockworks, that's this mansion name. The one he was at previously is Haunted Towers, so those are 2 different mansions. He is currently in the lead because of that.
With the gems in this game, they're not all available in the same mission. Even if you have access to a room in a mission, that doesn't mean the gem is going to be there. So the runners have to know which gems are available in which missions. The only mission that has all the gems in the mansion, I think, is a bonus, which is pretty helpful, but all the other ones you have to do 2 or more missions just to get all the gems.
And that's a big reason why we have some 7 gem spaces and 12 gem spaces. There are 65 total gems in the game for 5 different mansions, 13 in each. Also just looks like Vicious marked off his second space. So yeah, knowing what missions have certain gems is very important. I guess to add on to that as well, we haven't really talked about this yet, but in row 4, column 5, there's a space called 4 bonus rooms. Bonus rooms are mission specific. Those are in our story missions, and some of those have the gems that can only be gotten in a certain mission, like Lars was talking about previously. So in the bonus missions where they are right now, any gems that are in the bonus rooms, those bonus rooms don't open up, so those gems are inaccessible. I don't think any either of the runners have gone for any of those so far, but I imagine we'll be seeing that pretty soon.
I do believe now that Riidolsk is going to try and place a lot of priority now on trying to finish out this level as quickly as possible to try and at least get through low percentage levels or bonus missions, as both of them are currently working towards both that space. It's going to come down to the RNG to determine who's actually going to be able to take the cake on that space. I think Vicious is having a slight advantage as Riidolsk has only completed one room, where Vicious has completed, I believe, about 2 rooms so far. So we'll see how the RNG continues to play out as these runners continue to go through this.
If one runner gets a good wave, that could change things a lot to who would get that space. Again, these missions are very RNG. Since neither of them have their bottom screen available, we can't see what their RNG is until they enter the room.
Yeah, the bottom screen, it has a map on it, and the rooms that have ghosts, there's an exclamation mark that appears in those rooms. So they can see exactly where the ghosts are going to appear. They don't just guess, but we aren't able to see that right now. Looks like Riidolsk is also going for gems. I think Vicious has a good advantage with that as well, as he's already gotten two gems in the room that he's currently in. Interesting thing about this room in particular, it is the only one in the game to have 2 gems inside of it. I believe Vicious is on his final wave of the bonus mission. There are 3 waves total. The first one has 1 room of ghosts, the second one has 2, the third one has 3. So there's 6 total rooms that you need to take care of. I believe Riidolsk is also on his final wave. I could be wrong.
Vicious did have a little trouble with the last wave, but he managed to work it out almost.
One interesting thing that I just noticed, you can jump in just a sec. I see that there's a 12 gems haunted space. Currently, Riidolsk has 7 of the gems already, so we'll most likely be seeing him jump back into that mission to grab 5 more. I'm not sure which one he will exclude, because there are 13. He only needs to get 12, but I guess we'll see that later.
Vicious did previously with the sneaker, what's called a ghost surf. If you just like tug on to a ghost and let it drag you, it's actually faster than running. It looks very swaggy, and it kind of is. It's pretty hard to pull off, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Something I'll also mention, since I kind of remembered that Vicious had an encounter with a poltergeist earlier, there are mini bosses in Dark Moon. And one of them, there's one in 3 mansions, in 3 of the mansions in the game. The first one, Gloomy Manor. The third one, Old Clockworks. And the last one, Treacherous Mansion. So there's a mini boss in kind of the middle of each of those, and we have a space for every poltergeist variety. And I noticed that Vicious did happen to encounter a normal poltergeist when doing C bonus. So that would actually allow him to not have to go to the level of A-3 to get that, which is good RNG in his case, meaning he would only have to replay. If he were to go for that space, he would only have to play through C3 and then E3 respectively to get the other 2 poltergeist varieties, which is the Ancient and the Strong poltergeist types.
One thing that just happened right now is Vicious marked off his 3 spaces, his third space, low percent, 2 levels or bonus missions. Riidolsk actually just finished up this mission right now, and if he was maybe 20 seconds faster, he would have gotten space. But Vicious managed to snipe that. So that gives him a little bit of an advantage, because Riidolsk spent some time trying to go for that, but he didn't actually get the space from it.
I agree. I think now Vicious is going to be going ahead and trying to go for 7 Gems Treacherous and finish out the last bonus mission. This one will not require him to low percent, so he can fly through this level as he so chooses, but I think he's going to low percent it anyways, even though he's not required to. I believe Riidolsk should or will end up trying to go into C5 to collect some other gems to finish out the 12 gems Clockworks, since if you were to go for the same thing that Vicious did, then it would be a little bit interesting. But we do also have now a more interesting race that I think Riidolsk will be able to actually come out on top of, which is now he's entering a bonus. Since he can fly through this mission, it's going to be a little bit quicker for him, and since I think Vicious is going to be trying and going for some of the gems here in Treacherous, he might actually be at a complete disadvantage in terms of actually being able to claim out the 3 bonus mission space, and Rios might come out top at the end of a bonus with that space in his hands.
Right now, they both have 2 bonus missions, and they're both on their final one. 2 completely different missions. So it'll be very interesting to see how they space out. Riidolsk being slammed by this door right here, or just checking in and it not working. He looked like he went for the inspect 4 unique fake doors. He's working towards that space. I think he got another somewhere else. That's a fairly quick space. He might be going to Treacherous Mansion, looks like. Yep. Looks like he's going to try and knock out that space. Completely surprised me. I was expecting him to stay in a bonus and finish off the 3rd bonus mission that he would need.
As was I, but I will also like to mention that there is a 3 missions treacherous space, so if our runners were to be able to do this mission, complete it, they would only have to do 2 extremely quick levels between E-Boss and E4. E4 is extremely short because it is a special mini-boss. There are 2 mini-bosses in Treacherous. As I mentioned earlier, the Poltergeist, which if our runners go for E3 here pretty soon, they'll be able to take that, as well as E4, which is Dark Moon's equivalent of Colossus, or as the game officially calls it, Big Boo.
I think it can't be stressed enough how quick E4 is, especially compared to the personal best times for each of these runners. The world record for E4, which hopefully we'll see soon, is 32 seconds, which is it is the only mission that is less than 1 minute long. So it's a pretty big gap to any others. And then E-Boss, which is, hopefully we'll see that later, that is the 2nd shortest mission. So that should not take very long to knock out that space, I would imagine.
And there are pretty missions in Treacherous to speedrun, but unfortunately they get overshadowed by the very short missions in Bingo, like E4 and E-Boss. The cool ones are like E2 and E5. Both are very skill based and really cool to watch someone speedrun them.
Riidolsk
picking up
marking
there
off his 3rd space. 3rd space, inspect 4 unique fake doors. I imagine he'll be finishing up his 3rd bonus mission soon. Oh, but it looks like Vicious is also going to snag that space from him as well. Yeah, he gets his 4th point. So a lot of miniature races in here. Riidolsk being sniped just by a tiny bit ahead. So now Vicious is leaving. He's going back to the bunker, and he has plenty of time to decide what his next move is. That's one thing I like about the space between going between missions and the main hub, is that it gives you time to look at the actual board.
Yeah, something a little unfortunate I noticed Riidolsk having earlier was he was going to try and continue doing some of the other gems as he was inside of one of the exhibit rooms in Treacherous Mansion, but unfortunately the portal he needed to get to the front entrance of the mansion was on the wrong side. There is a little bit of a gimmick in one of the rooms called the Nautical Exhibit, where if you spin the steering wheel in a specific direction, it will turn this kind of compass around, and if it faces towards a specific direction, that being north, the portal will turn into another room. In Riidolsk's case, unfortunately, the portal was not in the room he needed to be able to take a Bloomberry to one of the other rooms. One of the painful things about the gems inside of Treacherous Mansion is that a lot of them are Bloomberry mini games using gold Bloomberries, and with those mini games, you just kind of fly around and collect coins, and when you collect all of them, you are then able to it spawns a chest, and then you can go ahead and see or obtain a gem. Riddle's going to be working, I believe, now inside of E-bonus again, but he's going to try and just get a few more gems as Vicious now heads into E-boss, which is very interesting level to speed run. Has a very lot of interesting tricks that I've developed when grinding for this world record, and I'm going to be very interested to see if Vicious goes for any of them. A lot of them are a bit of a hassle, and they are very technical, so I would not be surprised to see if something kind of goes awry, as it tends to. Unfortunately, as I say that, Vicious was
You can see the anger in his
off on his
webcam.
timing. You can, but unfortunately, he was a little off on his timing there and was not able to get a clean second phase. But he should be just fine as he continues through E-boss, and Riedel still trying to chug through whatever gems he can still through the rest of Treacherous. He should soon here be able to mark off 7 gems Treacherous. I think he only needs a couple more to pick up while he's here at E-bonus, and then he can go ahead and mark off that space.
I saw Riidolsk trying to look through some holes in the wall, trying to find some gold critters. So throughout the game, there's different types of small animals and bugs. There are, I guess you'd call them beetles, spiders, bats. Should be a bat right at the top of this room, assuming he
And there's
knows
crows.
it's right there. There's crows as well, frogs, and I might be missing a few more. And there's also gold variants of every single one of those. So he might try and go for that space. Looks like he got his 4th space, 4 gems, 3 mansions. I imagine he'll be just trying to go for 3 more gems, so he can also knock out 7 gems Treacherous as well.
I think this is the point at the run where we're going to see our runners going for some different idea, some different paths to choose from to kind of prioritize and maximize the kinds of space they can get instead of racing it back and forth. And I will mention that them going for the same spaces is really just kind of a showcase of their raw skill, considering that these runners have such a high level of skill and been playing the game for so long. They have such a great knowledge to kind of strategize out how they're going to go about doing a bingo board of this caliber. So I think it's extremely impressive to see our runners kind of race it out a little more than what any of us commentators have seen in previous races with this, especially Lockout, since it's kind of a mode we don't do as much, as well as just in general. We don't usually see this much competition between 2 runners trying to snipe spaces in and out. So it is very, very cool to see that. Fish is going to be making his way into D boss. Now he's going to be working on 3 boss missions, it looks like. He could also eventually move his way into one of the other levels if he's going to go for 7 gems mines. It's another one of those really rough ones, but it is less painful than the painfulness of gems Treacherous, which Riedel should now be checking off, as he, I believe, has more than enough out of the gems in that. Or he might need 1 more, actually.
I think he's getting his final one right now.
There we go.
And he should be marked space. Yep, he just did.
Well, you may see the
So-
spaces 3 floor Polterpup and 4 floor Rush. Those are in the Scarescraper mode, not in the mission mode. And those usually are done towards the end of the bingo. And if these runners are kind of close, we could see some very tense Scarescraper action near the end.
So when Blars refers to Scarescraper, it's the online component of the game. It's basically a power. You have to do certain tasks in a floor. When you complete it, you go up the floor, and you can verse, and you can work with up to 3 other players, so max of 4. Thing with it being in the online component of the game, and pretty much everything else being single player, is that most of the spaces don't actually intertwine with it. So the reason that we don't see it a lot in the beginning is just because you can't multitask because it's in a completely different part of the game. Looks like Riidolsk is also going for gems in Gloomy Manor. I'm trying to figure out which space he's knocking out. My
2
guess
gems, 5
is...
mansions, I believe.
Looks like it, yeah. And then he'll only need 2 gems in Secret Mine to knock out that space. That'll also give him a little advantage over Vicious for 7 gems mines and 12 gems mines. One thing about having only 12 out of the 13 gems, especially with this mansion, is that one of them can be really frustrating to go for. It's in one of the bonus rooms, but it takes about 6 minutes to get there, and it's a time limit minigame, and if you mess up, then you have to spend another 6 minutes to go for it. So usually that is almost always the gem that gets excluded from bingos. Looks like, I imagine he'll be getting 3 in this mission and then be getting the remaining in another mission, D3.
The gem he mentioned can be very tense at the end of a 100% run. Flair runs 100% somewhat regularly, so he would know.
It's a very painful gem, but luckily it is probably one of the only gems that we might as well exclude from it because it can be very tense, and unfortunately in 100% runs, missing that gem can cost you the runs, since you'd have to restart the entire level it's on, and that'd be very unfortunate. But I think as of right now, both our runners are going to be going for something a little bit different. If they're going to start doing both gems in the mines, then Riidolsk would have an automatic advantage as he's already started ahead, but I think Vicious is going to try and finish out 3 boss Vicious as he edges his way into a boss, which is one of his most notorious levels for having a world record, and for, as a fun fact, used to have very big fear of him, was something kind of conquered his interesting arachnophobia. He used to be very scared of spiders, so him kind of doing and getting world record in this mansion was a big testament to him in kind of conquering that phobia. But I'm going to also just mention something earlier that some of you might have seen Riidolsk do. You might have seen Riidolsk turn around and hold the suction button as he was rolling up towards the snow. The snow in this game is relatively slow to move in, and something that's fast for us runners to do is to turn around a 180 and walk backwards with the vacuum running in either or below, and it will allow us to move a little bit faster as we trudge through the snow.
Another use for that is if you're just on solid land, and let's say you want to make a 180 turn, you can tap R, and Luigi will almost instantly go the other way instead of doing like a little circle or just pausing before he goes around. It's called a pivot turn, and it's somewhat useful in some situations. In a boss, Vicious could also get the 3 or 2 missions off, 25 seconds off world record here. It shouldn't be too hard because this is a pretty short mission. Oh, he messed that up.
Ooh.
That's unfortunate.
Vicious unfortunately missing what we call shield skip. Majority of all the possessors in the game can do a shield attack where they'll create a force field around them and they'll charge up like a charge attack and they'll rush at you. In certain bosses like this one and in D-Boss, actually everyone except E-Boss, or no, everyone except C-Boss and E-Boss, my apologies. You can skip it if you are able to time a flash at the possessor early enough. And in this level, we utilize canceling knockback animations to be able to stun the possessor much earlier than we normally would be able to.
Watch your
If Vicious is able to
skip
get,
an A-boss.
if Vicious is able to get through this level and stay 25 seconds off the world record, he would only need one more level that does that, because I believe he got a 144 on E-Boss, which is just exactly 25 seconds off of world record. So he could be able to start working towards that space. And especially if he were to go back to Treacherous and do Colossus and do E4, if he gets a good time there, he would be able to mark out that space. But Riidolsk is keeping a pretty good lead right now on Vicious as he's working through 7 gems mines and 12 gems mines. And we should be seeing some interesting play for runners moving forward to the next weeks.
I believe Riidolsk will be getting his 4th space. Oh wow, did he just mark off 2 spaces at the same time? I think so. First time we've seen that this game. I believe Ri is getting his 4th gem in mines, and he will also be completing this mission. So I think he will only have 2 more to after this one. I imagine Riidolsk will be taking the lead on all the secret mine stuff.
The
I
only
think
mission.
also that Riidolsk will be able to get a bit of a head start on the kill 5 gold critter types. There are a couple of gold critter types, including the gold beetle, which I believe would be unique to. I think it's unique to secret mines to be able to get an advantage on that. As we now see Vicious moving to E4. If you get some good RNG here, he can get out of this level pretty fast, and he can move on to something quick. He might make his way into E3. That's yet to be determined, but I can imagine if Vicious would be here, he would go for that. Doing this level will also be able to mark him off 3 missions treacherous. Riidolsk is also going to be completing 3 missions. Is going to try and be completing 3 missions mines as he's completed through D1, which is one of the Toad Escort missions in this game. In 4 of the mansions, excluding Gloomy Manor, there is a level where EGAB will require you to go and find a toad that he sent out after the anomaly occurred, and his toads have gone missing. So he sends Luigi to go look for them. So there's about 4 of those in the game. Unfortunately, or actually fortunately, that space isn't on here. It's a bit of a longer space due to the levels of Toad Escort missions being a little prolonged compared to others, which is great in terms of time management for our runners, slow strategizing how they're going to go about doing things. But Rios has been trying taking that into advantage as he goes through this.
The Toad missions, or specifically just the Toad's new missions, can be a huge pain because they don't want to cooperate. They get stuck places. They have to respawn. They start running around if you get scared. Or they get scared. They do not like to cooperate at all. That's very difficult to speedrun with.
So, I actually think Vicious went into this mission not for, or I think he went into that space trying to get the 3 missions treacherous space. I know he got E bonus already. I don't know if he got E1. Actually, no, I don't think he's been there yet. My guess is that after this he'll go into E3 because that has the second poltergeist that he needs, and he can also complete that to knock out the 3 missions treacherous space. So he'll in that next mission he'll be able to knock out 1 space, and then another mission after that he'll be able to get 1 more.
Aren't there 3 poltergeist varieties? Because there's the yellow one, the strong yellow one, and the blue one.
Vicious was able to get the normal poltergeist variety when he went through C bonus. The game gave him a really lucky RNG there.
Yeah, I
was
did
able to
see
give
that.
him a normal one in the roundhouse. Vicious was able to actually mark that off since he already did E boss as well, since he already marked off 3 bonus missions earlier. So he's more than good on that space, but he could move here to E3 if he's going to work towards that space, considering he does have an advantage on that space over that of Riidolsk, who is still working through the gems in secret mines. I believe he's probably got 1 or 2 more before he marks off the 7 gems mine space, and then he'll work his way down to the under levels of secret mines and get the other 5 gems that is required for him.
Looks like he's going into A4. In the room that you're just about to see, there is a doghouse, and that has one of the bonus rooms. I don't know if we've seen any of these yet. This might actually be the first occurrence. It can be a pretty fast pace when tied in with other things. So basically how the bonus rooms work is there's a timer. You have to solve some sort of puzzle. So you have 2 treasure chests. You have to reveal the next one, and that's pretty much it. Just open all the treasure chests, get all the gold, and then you've succeeded with it. I believe Riidolsk should be wrapping up 7 gems mines pretty soon, as well as also going for 12 gems mines, skipping that really annoying one that we were talking about earlier. Looks like he's also in D bonus, which will count as the second Mines mission, so he'll only need one more after that. My guess is that he'll probably do D-boss the snow monster that we saw Vicious fight probably about 10 minutes ago.
I believe now Vicious is going to try and go through C5, which is an interesting take. I believe he's going to try and do some of the other Clockworks gems here, considering that Riidolsk had not gone and finished through 12 gems Clockworks, and I believe now Vicious does have the advantage on that, as the same thing as what has how Riidolsk does have the advantage on 12 gems Haunted, since he already did 7 gems Haunted. So I think that is interesting to see how our runners are kind of working towards different things, but there are a lot of gems here in this board, and Riidolsk claiming there that 7 gems mines. He only needs 5 more throughout the rest of the mission, and then afterwards he'll be able to mark that space off.
Do you know if either of the runners got a strong hider in the bonus missions?
I do not believe they did.
I
don't think
the
so.
missions-
I actually don't know if there's any strong hiders in bonus missions.
You
Not
can get those in
100% sure.
E1, E2, and E5, I think, or E3 as well. Do you know if there's any more missions?
I do not think so.
Not at the top of my head. The reason that he brings that up is the space smack dab in the middle, very strong ghost variety. Sometimes there's ghosts that you may have seen that kind of look like they have veins all around them. That basically indicates that they're stronger. Somehow they use magic of the red gems in Secret Mine to make them stronger. Basically, it just means that they have extra health. So that space is getting every single one of those ghosts. I imagine if whoever goes for the strong poltergeist, which I think will be more likely Vicious if I were to guess, that is required for the strong ghost. That would give him an advantage for Riidolsk, who currently does not have that ghost.
I also would like to mention that while sitting in C5, Vicious did go for another one of the bonus rooms, so that would leave him with 2 out of 4 required for him to be able to mark up that space. He was able to get 2 gems out of there, so he would only need a couple more gems. I believe he's now going to be going ahead and doing C3, which will give him the Ancient Poltergeist ready, only leaving him then with E3 to go through, and afterwards he'll be able to mark off that space. And I believe he should soon be completing 12 gems Haunted here, as he's going to be doing one of the more fun and interesting gems, which is where you pull off that tarp, you set the clock to 9, and it wakes up the greenie, which when you then defeat will drop the gem from the collect.
Do we have time for a quick message?
Go ahead.
Absolutely can.
Alright, thank you very much. I just would like to do a brief reminder that in less than a couple of hours we'll be having the Pokemon Black and White run done by Cruel and InstaFizz right after Jet Set Willy. And for that, we do have a bid war going on for the starter Pokemon name. The leading name right now is 2B at $25. And I think this is also an opportunity a bit here, since that name is 2B, to remind that we also have a prize, which is near replicate version 1.22474487139. ... There we go. I think that was said quite appropriately there. For a minimum donation of $30 up until the end of the event. So yeah, definitely you can get those donations in, potentially to snipe a name for Pokemon Black and White, while also potentially winning near replicant. That could be something you could do. Cheers everyone, and good luck with the rest of the run.
Yeah, sorry for the lack of breaks. This bingo is pretty fast paced.
Looks like I don't know if anyone else is able to hear that. Actually, wait, nope, never mind. It's just me. I thought Riidolsk's screen froze, and then I heard no audio. Now we're good. It's just me. Looks like Vicious is going into another bonus room. This one requires you to pull the tarp to showcase this door, and then afterwards you can go into the door. I believe that tarp is required in order to actually access the door, even if you already know that it's there.
Unfortunately, it is, but that will make Vicious only require one more bonus room to complete that. And he will still, like I said earlier, get through this mission, and he'll be able to achieve 2 out of 3 poltergeist varieties, only leaving him with needing to do E3, which will be good because that will also mark off one of the requirements for every strong ghost variety, since the strong poltergeist does count towards that space. So I do believe Vicious has currently 3 working, maybe 2 now, maybe spaces he can attain, as he did leave C3 just then. But it's possible he's just going to try and get through the last bonus room that he needs, and then might go back later and go through and complete C3 and then E3. Either that, or that's going to be a space that both our runners are going to try their best to avoid, and we might see Vicious pick up one of the 2 Scarescraper spaces that we have just a little bit.
I think Riidolsk has three working spaces as well. I think he'll be able to knock out 3 missions mines in probably about less than 2 minutes, and then 12 gems mines, which I'm surprised he hasn't already knocked out. I wonder if there's one or 2 more he needs, and then as well as the 12 gem haunted. Excuse me. I find it really interesting that he got the 7 gems haunted, which is a lot quicker. He marked that space off early, which kind of deterred Vicious from going for the 12 gems haunted, and reserves that space later for him. And we haven't seen Vicious go for that at all.
Vicious is going to do a skip here called Guard Tunnel Skip. Well, hopefully he will. If he can get enough, he probably will. How it works is when Luigi is in his invincibility frames, for some reason he can't be stunned or scared by ghosts. So normally he gets scared there, but since he got hit by the mouse, he's in his iframes and could not get scared. So, and we can use that to get behind the gate before it appears. And you have to get at least 1 green there, or the game will crash for some reason once you complete the level. You don't know why, it's just the way it is.
Vicious having a little bit of a hard time there with the mechanics of the Super Poltergust. In this game, there is a upgrade system to the game, where when you collect certain thresholds of gold, you will unlock certain upgrades to the Poltergust, and it will change in an alternating order of the gauge that you can use on ghosts, as well as the meter of the dark light device, which is also which was originally unique to this game before it was repurposed in Luigi's Mansion 3. And the last upgrade in the game, when you get 20,000 gold, it's called the Super Poltergust, and that allows us to have a much more powerful Poltergust that will deal damage to ghosts faster, will charge up the gauge faster, and will blow objects and bring suck objects to you much faster, which can lead to some very derpy, I guess, physics, and some very awkward physics that occur, where we will see our runners go through very interesting things. Vicious is going to try and take advantage there of that gold frog, as he might want to go for kill 5 gold critter types. We'll see kind of how that plays out through the rest of this. Vicious will be entering his last bonus room, as Riidolsk will now be entering the 4-floor rush mode. This is a mode in Scarescraper, one of the 3 that exist, where as you are in the level, you are supposed to find the room that has a pressure plate that, when stepped on, you will be able to advance to the next level. But you have to do it within the time limit, There are a lot of timepieces scattered throughout the space, and that will increase the time to find the room. Sometimes the layout of rooms can be really, really troublesome, but I believe Riidolsk has a good portion of them memorized by heart, so this does give him a good advantage going into four floor rush mode.
Fun
I think
fact,
that
bag of magic food like this, if you're playing co-op, and you see how you stand on the pressure plates in rush mode to finish the level, you can actually put 2 bombs on there to finish the level because 2 bombs is the same weight as Luigi. So all the players don't actually have to be there to end the game.
looks like
Vish is now entering into E-5. This is gonna be good for him to be able to complete majority of the ghosts needed for every strong ghost variety. I believe this also will be a good way for him to just kind of... Actually, I don't think there is any other space that he can mark off here other than every strong ghost variety. I believe the only ones that he would need would be a strong slammer and a strong hider, which he's not seen previously, but I do believe that he has seen a strong sneaker as well as a strong greenie. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll see exactly when he resets at this level, because he's not required to finish this level for any other space. So we'll see him do that and then probably move to E3 to strong poltergeist.
A Vicious is doing E5. That's one of the most skill-based levels in this game. It's a lot of fun to speedrun, and it's very hard. Hopefully he can pull off some good strats and show off the level.
I think it was really smart of Riidolsk to go into Scarescraper, because he already has 2 spaces in reserve, that being 12 Gems Haunted and 12 Gems Mines, that I believe he's pretty confident that Vicious is not planning to go for those anytime soon, which makes him go for probably some of the longer spaces, while Riidolsk is basically just going for easy spaces, and then he'll probably just pick up the 12 Gem Haunted later. So a lot of mind games when you're racing with 2 people.
And I do believe for Riidolsk, it's good here now because rush mode is also extremely unforgiving in the sense that it is very easy to lose the run out of it and reset, and unfortunately get your progress reset. So being able to do it a little bit earlier on is good, especially if Riidolsk is going to go ahead and try the other Scarescraper mode. But we're going to see what happens, because Vicious is going to be entering into Rush as well, which unfortunately he'll end up quitting out of here in a very short time. But who knows? I mean, Riidolsk did just unfortunately have to reset here by the looks of things.
Oh no, he did get it,
he
but that was just the timer.
Was red coin. My apology.
So he still has one more floor to go.
He still has one more floor to get through, and if he does lose this can mean that we do have yet another race actually occurring between our 2 runners to see who will complete through the rush floors first. But I do believe that Riidolsk has a very good chance of being able to do it before Vicious does, which means Vicious would have to quit out and then start on Polterpup if he is paying attention very, very quickly to the board to see when Riidolsk marks off that space.
Yeah, hopefully he does notice that
and
it's finished.
Riidolsk having no problem finishing through that last floor, going to be able to mark off that space. I'm going to be interested to see if he goes through 3-4 Polterpup.
Yep, Vicious notice.
My apologies. And we're going to see how he does that. Riidolsk now thinking about his options. I think he now is going to try and go for a space that he can secure. And he's going to try and go for actually go through 3 missions Clockworks, because he's already done one of them, that being C bonus. So now he's going to do a couple other levels that will let him do the 3 missions Clockworks. As Vicious is going to work his way into 3-4 Polterpup as we kind of come towards the end of this bingo race, as both our players have a very close race going on at the moment.
I actually don't even think he's gonna be in this mission just to complete it. There is a gold bug in this mission, which I actually don't know of any other location for it. I think he's just gonna get that and then instantly leave, just trying to knock off the 5 gold critter types. You could see after the objectives in Scarescraper, there's a little mini game where there are 4 red coins to collect, and there's a timer. You may have noticed he was searching a lot of objects while the timer was running down, not really worrying about the red coins. Reason for that is that some of the gold critters can appear in Scarescraper, so he was hoping to knock out some spaces for that. So we didn't even realize until now, but he was already thinking about that space way ahead, probably 10 minutes ago.
Riidolsk entering into, I believe this is D3. Could actually be D2. I'm not entirely sure, but I do know that I believe one of the last gems that he would need to collect if he didn't do it earlier would be towards the bottom of the mine. Oh, there's yet another gold critter. Actually, yes, I did forget that there is a gold crow there, so that is another one to add to his list of things. But I do know that there is a gem that is required at the bottom of this level or at the bottom of the mansion that you can only get in D3, where you will take a portal that you would find at the end of D2, and when exiting in it, you would fall onto like a bench in the chalet, which is one of the main rooms of the mansion, and it will appear a gem. It's much faster to get, I believe, than doing the snowball minigame, but I'm also unsure if Riidolsk did the snowball minigame.
He's in D2. It's a very movement-based mission. If you want to do it fast, you need to have good movement. Really know the level inside and out, and I think he does. He's been playing this game for a very long time. So hopefully, he does show off some cool strats. They're not especially big time saves, but some of them look cool.
There is one little thing at the end of this mission. I don't know if he's thinking about it right now, but it does allow him to skip 2 ghosts. This is not one of the skips that we actually use in our runs, just because it doesn't actually let you complete the mission, but it does allow you to get that gem that Flair was talking about just a little bit faster. We might see that later on.
I also would like to mention, I think by looking towards what the end game space is going to be, I believe both the runners will end up, if we're going to see kind of a free-for-all kind of last stand type of race, we are going to see both our runners going for the 3 missions clockworks, as both our runners have spaces in reserve that they're working on. Since Vicious is currently doing the last Polterpup floor he needs, he will be able to get every Poltergeist variety, and then he does already have C bonus completed for 3 missions clockwork. So if he completes his every Poltergeist variety and completes C3, then he will only need 1 level left in clockworks, which would probably be either C1 or C boss. And Riidolsk already has 3 of the spaces in reserve, being kill, 5 gold critter types, 12 gems mines, and 12 gems haunted. But I do believe an endgame space, if we do see a 12-12 race to the 13th space, will be on 3 missions clockworks.
I find it very interesting that he didn't try and get any gems in mines. There's 13 total, and we only require 12, so I'm wondering what his gem count is right now. I wonder, is he sitting at 11? And if so, like, which space has he, which gem has he not gotten?
I believe the gem he still hasn't gotten is the one I mentioned earlier, where he would need to go to the bottom of D3. He was in D2, so I do believe he did the pit slide gem, though I do not remember what his gem count was going out of both D1 and D bonus.
I think Ree's going for the gold mouse in A3 because he's taking the 80% route. Maybe the gold spider. Maybe both.
That's smart, because he got the bat, he got the bug. There was another that he got, so he should be able to mark off that space really soon. My guess is that Vicious thought that he beat Riidolsk to grabbing the 3-floor Polterpup mission, when in reality Riidolsk was actually never going for it. Vicious trying to decide what the best move is now with only 5 spaces. Each one matters so much, because I believe...
You got it.
Yep, Riidolsk just knocked another one out. So it's
What I mean-
getting very close. Only
It looks.
if one player gets 13 spaces, then that means they are the winner. So, pretty close.
What I meant by the any percent route in A3 is there's an actual faster route. If you have the dark light in A3, you can use the door that you're supposed to take in A4, go through the patio and into the kitchen that way. It's called the any percent route because you don't have the dark light available in others for that route, so you have to take the original route. You can see that
This
route
is
down in the
interesting.
world record.
This is interesting.
Yeah, so right now, Riidolsk has the upper hand on 12 gem mined and 12 gems haunted, but I think he's planning on trying to snipe 3 missions clockworks from Vicious, when in the meantime Vicious is going for 12 gems mines, which is currently he has 0 from that mansion, so it'll take him quite a bit. Probably, my guess is at least 7 minutes to get all of the spaces that he needs for that.
This can be very interesting. This is a much different turn of events than what I was expecting to see from both of our runners. I was expecting Vicious to kind of go back into Clockworks and trying to complete that every Poltergeist ready, because you would only have needed 2 missions out of that, which both in some respect you don't need to get it. I guess C3 you would need to complete, but he was already doing that mission earlier, so I would have figured he would have finished that to at least get the Ancient Poltergeist variety, considering he already had 1 of 3 completed. But if Riidolsk neglects 12 Gems Haunted for too long and goes back to finish 12 Gems Mines, Vicious actually has a good chance of taking that space, which would mean that end game would end up being every Poltergeist variety, which would make both our runners have to go do 2 or 3 missions. And I think for Riidolsk, he would have to do 3 because he has not done A3, nor do I think he's actually gotten a normal Poltergeist from any of the bonus missions. So it's very interesting to see how this is going to play out. I would still believe that now it is anyone's game in terms of how this can play out. So we will see how it plays out in the next few minutes, as Vicious is going to kind of truck his way through 12 Gems Haunted, which he needs a lot of catching up to do, but he should eventually be able to get it. He will need to travel into B3 at some point, if I am not mistaken, to at least get into the cemetery, because I do not know if it's accessible when you are in B bonus. I could be wrong
It
about
is.
that. Okay, so then
I
you
find
would
it very
need to go
interesting
into B
that-
bonus.
I find it interesting that he went into B4 because there's only 1 gem that's locked behind this mission,
He might be doing
and
a
you can
cool
get
strat in C1
12.
where
might-
he stuns the ghost underground with the bomb. Let's see if he gets it. It's a little tricky, but he might manage. And he gets it. Watch this. So bombs actually stun ghosts when they explode, so that bomb reaches to the slammer underneath. And that saves a lot of time because you're higher up on the ramp. You don't have to go down and suck up all the sand to unveil the slammer. It probably saves like 15 to 20 seconds in total.
So how many Clockworks missions has Riidolsk gotten right now? I think he's gotten C bonus. This will be C1. Has he gotten any more? I don't
this
know.
Would be his second. This would be a second of 3. Both runners have only completed 1 mission. If Vicious had completed C3 earlier, that would give him an advantage in terms of being able to complete that, in terms of completing that space. But unfortunately, he hasn't. And even now, I think Riidolsk would go into C3 at this point in time to go and complete 1 of the 3 Poltergeist varieties that he would need for that space. And that would give him that and would make him and Vicious practically tied for that space. But he would still need to go back and complete the 12 gems. And I think at this point, it's starting to look like
I think Vicious has the upper hand
12
here.
Gems Haunted is a lost cause for Riidolsk. He's neglected it for too long, and unfortunately, I think Vicious is going to take that into consideration as he notices that 7 Gems Haunted has been marked off, but his 12 Gems has not been marked off in a decent amount of time either. So, unfortunately, I do think Riidolsk is going to lose that space and will still be able to get 12 Gems Mines because that is a very time-consuming one and is not one that I think is worth Vicious's time to go for. So, I think we will be seeing that happen. I think Endgame is, again, probably still judging between 3 missions. Clockworks in every Poltergeist variety, but I think at this point it's going to be every Poltergeist variety.
At the end of C1, you might have seen Ree get the gold, and he got the gold because EGAD will not call you in some, well, I think in all missions, unless all the gold is collected near you. In some missions, that affects the in-game timer at the end, and some it doesn't. The in-game timer is the amount of time the game tells you you've spent in that mission in the end screen. This is how we time our ILs. That can be abused in some ways through EGAD storage, which is pretty complicated. I won't go into it. And other glitches that are mission specific.
So I think the race right now is between Vicious getting, I believe, 5 more gems to mark off the 12 gems haunted space, and Riidolsk completing a Clockworks mission. This should be only 2 more minutes long, as well as getting his final haunted gem. I'm going to be honest, I think with Vicious already being in the mission that he needs to be, and only having 5 more gems to go, I think him marking that space off for haunted, as well as having the Poltergeist variety, I think that will give him the win here. That's my prediction, though.
I do see Riidolsk win condition here, as I do. If it takes a little bit more time for Vicious to get through 12 Gems Haunted, if Riidolsk already comes outside of C3 before Vicious completes 12 Gems Haunted, Riidolsk could actually steal every Poltergeist variety from Vicious, which would force Vicious to do 12 Gems Mines, considering Riidolsk would already have marked off 3 missions Clockworks, and because Riidolsk only has 1 or 2 left, that is his win condition. So if he were to play on that kind of troll level, Vicious does have a very easy chance of losing this, but that is going to come down to how it plays out in the end when both our runners are going for the last 2 Poltergeists they need, that being for Riidolsk, the normal and the strong, and for Vicious, the ancient and the strong variety.
This is a very close race. Riidolsk is in the last room that has ghosts. It should be only maybe 30 more seconds until he finishes this mission, and Vicious is trying to just book it to the final 3 gems that he needs to get to. One of them is, I don't know if he's already gotten it, but it's a roll of toilet paper that is located at the very top of the other tower, so he'll have to climb all the way up to this one and then go on a bridge in order to reach that one. So this will be very close. Very curious to see how this will go.
And it's just coming to my realization that Riidolsk was actually doing C4 the entire time, not C3. So I guess that is entirely my mistake for thinking that, but I do still see a win condition for Riidolsk, and that being kind of how long it would take for. Actually, no, I don't think. I think Vicious has the overall win condition at this point, because I think if Riidolsk were in C3, he would have a possible win condition depending on how long it would take for Vicious to get through the 12 gems. As Vicious having a little bit of a tough time there doing the duck hunt mouse shooting pellet game, but is able to complete that out. Has only got, I believe, 3 gems left, maybe 2 gems left that he needs in Haunted.
He only has 1 more, I believe.
Gems. Even better.
Yeah, it's just to book it to the end, and it's not even like a mini game with that. So, depending on, well, one is Riidolsk going to go into Haunted Towers? Yeah, he is. And question, where is the final gem that he needs? This is going to come down to the wire.
This is a very do or die situation for both of our runners. Is now Riidolsk has, I probably noticed he's neglected this for a while. He's going to try and complete this now before Blars would catch on, but I think, unfortunately,
I believe it's too late for him.
He may be out of luck. He may be out of luck. And there you go.
Just marking off that
Vicious
space.
Taking off the 12 gems haunted, and now Riidolsk is in a bit of a predicament, as now I believe he no longer has a possible win condition, because the only thing he now has left is 12 gems mines. And if Vicious goes into secret mines, unfortunately, it would be very poor for him to do, but he unfortunately is going there, leaving both our runners to the demise of every poltergeist variety as the possibly last space required, which Vicious, as I mentioned earlier, does have an advantage on, as he is one of the 3 required. But Riidolsk has still not seen yet the bingo board and has noticed that Vicious has taken 12 gems haunted from him. So it's going to be very interesting to see exactly how this plays out.
It's interesting. Riidolsk has the advantage for 12 gems mines. I believe he's only missing probably 1 or 2, and then Vicious already collecting the... Has he gotten the strong poltergeist, or was it just the regular one? Either way, Vicious has the upper hand with that space. Okay.
Has Ree realized yet?
Ree has realized he is yes, I think he has realized he's going to be exiting out of, he's going to be going to the bunker. I think he accidentally restarted the mission.
Unfortunate.
But I think the sooner Riidolsk gets through every poltergeist, or every the 12 gems mines, the more down to the wire this will get. Otherwise, like I mentioned with Riidolsk's previous win condition, he still holds an actual win condition, and that's to take every poltergeist variety and make Vicious spend all this time doing secret mines gems. And if it takes so much longer, then it will come to a point where Riidolsk is able to snipe that from him. But it's kind of 50-50 to see, because it will take a while for Riidolsk to get through the 3 missions required for him to get all the poltergeist varieties. Granted, E3 is extremely fast. I think Vicious would be able to power through this before getting through C3 and A3. And I think Riidolsk is now gonna try and go back into mines and pick up the last one he needs and make this down to the wire, where he would need to do 3 missions, where Vicious only needs to do 2.
Yeah, he's realizing right now, trying to pick up that last one. And actually, with the number of spaces that Vicious has, he only needs one of these spaces in order to win, while Riidolsk would need both of them in order to win. So, very interesting race we have right here. Did Riidolsk get the A3 poltergeist?
I do not believe he did,
leave?
but I do not. I think he just left. I think he realized that he's not going to fall into the same baited trap as he set up for himself earlier when Vicious sniped the 12 gems haunted from him, and as he used to get the last one, as I mentioned earlier, he just needs to go down to the very bottom of Secret Mines. There's one room that he needs to go into. He enters a portal, knocks out one of the gems, and then he picks that up and marks that space off, which he then would probably return back down to... he would then return to A3 to get the normal poltergeist variety, and then do the other 2 missions as following suit. If Vicious doesn't realize too fast, both our runners are going to be in a very neck-and-neck situation where it's going to come down to who can complete both levels faster.
I think Ree has the advantage for the gems, right?
Yes, Riidolsk only need 1 gem left.
Yeah. Vicious does not know that. I don't. Yeah.
I think it'd probably be in his best interest to probably at least finish A3, because I don't believe he's gotten the normal poltergeist yet, and then went and get these gems. My guess is that he left probably just because he thought that Vicious would complete the mines gems faster than he is right now. I don't believe that is the case, though. one interesting thing is that Vicious went into D3. The reason that he did that is because the gem that we normally exclude because of the bonus room, that's only accessible in D3. But in fact, all the other gems can be gotten much faster in the bonus mission for it, which is the one that Riidolsk is in right now. Being in the bonus mission prevents all of the story mission events from occurring. So I think just being in the wrong mission for these gems, that could possibly hinder any chance that Vicious has into completing that space before Riidolsk does. I believe Riidolsk also only needs one more gem in order
I think he actually
to complete
needs.
this.
He might need 2 more because he does need to get this rock here to melt one of the ice cubes at the top. That will give him a gem, as we'll see right now. Having to deal a little bit with the interesting aim mechanics of this game, but he should be more than fine to get this gem, and then he would only have the one last gem that he would need to go through that portal for. Afterwards, he would mark that off. I think it would have been interesting to see if Riidolsk had actually completed A3 and then done this, because considering that Vicious would have to spend more time doing the other gems and going through D1 to get majority of the gems there, he would have to do that. But he's marking up 12 gems mines now, and Vicious should soon be realizing that as he can now make his way into C3 and E3. But if he does forget that he got a normal poltergeist earlier inside of this race, he would have to go back into he would make himself go back into A3, which then would make this extremely neck and neck for both of our runners, as we now see Riidolsk entering C3 to get the Ancient Poltergeist variety. It is now literally down to the wire, as we are seeing both runners now at the last space. This is something both our runners want to see early on when we were discussing kind of about this race earlier in the week as well as earlier tonight, and it's now coming true. We have both of our runners coming down to a very neck and neck situation where now it's going to come down to the skill and luck of both of our runners to see who is being able to claim that last space. It's a very tight game between these two, but we will see who can come on top. Vicious still does have an advantage, but if he does not realize soon that Riidolsk has completed 12 gems mines, this could be very bad for Vicious.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just noticing that space has already been taken. He's just too focused on collecting the gems, but every second that he spends in this mission is in fact a waste of time. There are no poltergeists in this mission, so Riidolsk is making his way towards that final space, and Vicious is just throwing time away. He might end up throwing away the advantage that he built up earlier in the run. I think this has been a very interesting race. Who I think is going to be the victor, that's definitely changed. Looks like Vicious has just figured that out. He's now going into working towards every poltergeist variety. Looks like Riidolsk already has a pretty strong lead into C3, so we'll see how this goes.
I think Riidolsk, even where Riidolsk is currently inside of C3, they're pretty much even out, because the amount of time it's taking for him to get to here, for Vicious to get to there as well, it would be probably the same amount of time it would take for Riidolsk to complete A3 if he were to do well, which he has done pretty well in the past, and it's a very, very competitive level in terms of our IL leaderboards, and is one of the more optimized times that we have, one of the more difficult world records to beat for ILs. And so if we were to play at that skill, both the runners would be very evened out. So we are yet again seeing, as I said before, a very neck and neck situation where both our runners are down to the wire. We have only so much time left with these runners, and there's only so much left that they can do before we finish this off. And we're going to see who can come out on top on this extremely close match.
To be honest, he was menuing when Riidolsk was menuing to C3. That kind of made me think. I think he might have also gotten the normal Geist in the roundhouse for C bonus along with Vicious. So I think they both only need these 2 poltergeists to go. Riidolsk getting the one of them right here The
Vicious
one
is
interesting
doing
thing about
East corridor skip. It's pretty flashy. I think Rex discovered it. Right.
interesting,
Not go for East
yeah,
corridor skip.
Oh well.
interesting thing
It
about
saves
this
a few
is that
seconds if
that
you
is
get it.
that's required in order to complete the mission, but in order to get the poltergeist, he actually didn't even need to go into Nautical Exhibit and fight those ghosts. So that was also just kind of throwing away a little bit more time. All he had to do was go into that bookshelf, start that cutscene, and then the poltergeist would spawn. So he didn't have to fight any of those ghosts at all and turn the portal. So if Riidolsk can skip having to go into Nautical and break the muscle memory that he's gotten from playing that mission so many times, that could be another advantage towards him. He's leaving right now because he already got the poltergeist. That space does not require you to
We got the
finish the
poltergeist.
missions.
There you go.
So now we're going to see if Riidolsk goes into E3. I would best believe that he's already gotten a normal poltergeist. But if he goes back into A3, then we know that he has already gone in. As he now goes into E3, excellent, going to E2, but going to E3 nonetheless, and he completes this, he may be able to mark off that space and claim the victory. So we're going to see exactly how that plays out. Vicious now entering the E3 fight himself. If Riidolsk has to return to A3, we are going to be seeing it down to the wire to see who claims the space first. Otherwise, I think Riidolsk has a victory here over Vicious.
In the fight, Vicious is currently in. You have to 3-cycle the ghost because a 2 or 1 the developers made very sure you're not to 2 or 1 cycle the ghost. They after the ghost reaches a certain amount of health, the thing starts spinning. Luigi gets scared, and it goes into the phase where he shoots out bombs. I think the first one is around the health 160, where the first one starts, and then around like 100, where the second phase starts. So there's, even if you play perfect, your best bet is to get around 40 to 50 health until you get scared for the second time.
Looks like Riidolsk made the smart move. He did not go into Nautical Exhibit, which is normally required in order to finish this mission. He just went straight into study to start that cutscene and to go into this fight.
Hello.
I believe the winner of this is going to come down to whether or not Vicious has already gotten the poltergeist, the blue one, in C3, and him backing out leads me to believe that he has not. So I believe our winner will be crowned very soon, probably within the next 2 minutes, as we only have one more fight to go.
We're going to see how that turns out. If Riidolsk does have to return to A3, I think Vicious has a bit of an advantage. But we're going to see how that plays out throughout the next couple of minutes, as it's going to take a little bit for Vicious to get through all of this to get into the final fight here of C3. And if Riidolsk is returned to A3 to get the normal poltergeist variety, then it's going to be super down to the wire, and it may actually be crowned to Vicious now that I'm thinking about it. But it is very close. We're very down on the wire. This is not something that usually happens inside of Dark Moon, considering I don't think we've ever done too many lockouts, if any, on Bingothon. So this is a very unique opportunity that everyone gets to witness here tonight. And so I would say this is a very, very successful run in our books.
I do think Ree will pull out the win here. He only has 2 more phases to go, while Vicious has quite a few rooms to go through.
I think pairing these two specific runners up into a bingo game has definitely definitely contributed into making this game as competitive as possible. I don't think any of our past races that we've done for Lockout have been as close and as competitive as this is right now.
This might be the closest a bingo has ever gotten within just a few minutes. Yeah, there's no way that Vicious can glitch us out unless Reed dies or something. Which he's at.
Or assuming that he hasn't already gotten the normal poltergeist.
Oh yeah,
He's backing out. Looks like he did not get the
He
A3
hasn't.
ghost.
Welcome to the do or die situation, ladies and gentlemen. We have an extremely close match now where it's coming down to how fast can our runners get through the last ghost that they need to fill out that last space. Riidolsk does have experience in doing very well inside of A3, which is a very short level, and Vicious
He does have
need to
record.
get through a couple other things here just to get to the final fight. So it is going to come down to the wire. Can Vicious get to the final fight and to cycle it properly before Riidolsk can finish through the end of A3? I have no idea. I have no idea how this will play out for either of our runners, as now Vicious is going to be able to make his way down to the final fight. We are going to see exactly how this plays out, and we
I
should
think it'll be within 10
okay to
seconds
see.
of each other. Very clean spear balls and keys by Ree. Let's see how the second one plays out.
One thing about the poltergeist that Vicious is fighting, the safest strat is to go for a 2-cycle, but there is a 1-frame trick that would do a
That would give him
1-cycle.
the
If he
win.
does get, that would give him the win. 2-cycle, I'm not sure if that
Ree
would.
only has to
that
get
would
the
do
first
it.
poltergeist. He does not have to complete the mission. He does not have to get all 3.
Needs to get the first one, but he still
see if
needs
he
to get
gets
through
the
the
trick.
kitchen. If Vicious gets to stun the
Oh my
ancient
god.
poltergeist before
I think Reed's gonna win.
Riidolsk begins
think
this
Reed's gonna
fight, then we get to see what happens. We're going to see exactly how this works out in the favor of our runners. I
Reed's
think
gonna win.
Riidolsk has this in the bag, though.
I
Yeah.
think he's
Depends
one
on the
that. Yep.
RNG of
Spam start.
yes.
He went
Riidolsk
to the
has
left.
gotten the win. He
Reed.
barely beats out
There we go.
Vicious, and on both of my screens, I'm seeing both runners completing what they needed on about the same time. But Riidolsk did mark that off before Vicious did, meaning that Riidolsk is the crown winner. And as you can
He's
see, there's
showing
a
off
little
the
bit of
glitch
there
of an
with
invisible
the-
ghost.
with the invisible poltergeist. There is a weird
ghost
thing there
is
in
at
A3
0 health
where
right
if
now.
you try stunning both of them, and one of them disappears, you're still draining its health, but you can't catch it until you stun it again.
All right,
I
I think
do
we're good.
believe-
We can bring
Laura
the
said the
runners
screen's
back
right.
in.
I think we can bring both undeaf in. We can bring them back in. I believe we are all good now.
Ciao.
What an insanely close match between our two runners. Down to the wire. The very final seconds of that race.
I was not expecting it to be like that.
Came out just a little bit on top of Vicious as they were literally finishing the ghosts in the final room that they needed. I have never seen anything so close and so competitive in my life in a race, but that was super photo finish, and I cannot say how ecstatic I am about that. That was exciting. That was exhilarating.
Yeah, props to both runners. That was just crazy to watch. I
Two
have no
very
other
high skill
words.
runners. And it was very close at the end, within probably 5 to 10 seconds, right?
Just about. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon.
All right, GG's.
I think we can both agree that was a very incredible ending there.
Yeah, definitely. That was very intense. A very nice lockout we've seen here.
That's the thing with Lockout,
in-
every time you get those kinds of endings. I love it.
It's crazy. I'm interested to see what the runners have to say. If they'd like to unmute and speak for themselves. What their thoughts
God,
were on the
hey,
run. I'm interested to hear.
Good God.
That was crazy, dude. So I was really worried at the start. At the start, you stole like 3 spaces from me, and I got super worried.
I
Like-
got worried when I started playing bad.
Like
It's very
7 gems
interesting
clockwork.
how that worked out.
7
Yeah,
gems
if-
clockworks, were you going for that?
Yeah, 3 bonus missions and low percent. Dude, I spent so much time on low percent, and then I saw you got it.
Dude, I wanted to pull that on you with the 7 gems because that was something you did to me in practice. Was where you got 7 gems and then you didn't get the 12 gems and you left that for later. I tried using that against you, except you
But
used
I
that
did it
against
again.
me as well, but like times 3.
Yeah, I did it in both Secret Mine and Haunted. And it really
Yeah, I only did it
made a
onwards.
difference, you know? Like when you
It's just-
stole those missions or those spaces, my counter was getting those 2 7 gems, and that really evened it out after that.
Yeah, I made a lot of mistakes that definitely cost me the game by a lot, but I think Reed did as well, so I'm not even mad.
Yeah, I definitely did make a few mistakes.
If you paid
Like, dude-
attention to the mines gems more, you might have gotten the win. If you realized that we got it.
Yeah, I looked like a minute. I mean, it didn't even matter because I still needed a regular poltergeist, so I needed to do A3 still.
No, you didn't.
No, you got
No, you
one
got
in
it in
C
a
bonus.
You
bonus.
got one in
mission.
C bonus in the roundhouse.
I didn't.
You did.
Yeah, you did.
I
We saw it.
I didn't do roundhouse and C bonus.
Wait, did
Yeah,
I
you
get one
did.
too?
We saw you suck up the
One
poltergeist.
of you
both
guys
had
did.
it?
Were you looking at Ree? Ree, did you do that?
Who had roundhouse?
Roll
in
back,
C
might
roll
have.
back the
bonus?
footage.
I'm pretty sure that was Ree because I know I didn't get a poltergeist and roundhouse and C bonus because I was paying attention when I did.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe I
Reed.
already had the
Interesting.
poltergeist.
Wait, Ree, did you do A3 for no reason?
He entered A3 twice. Well, okay, so it was interesting. There was a lot of different win conditions kind of trading back and forth based on the knowledge that we had as commentators throughout the run. But it was very interesting to see how that played out in the end. But yeah, the second he finished E3, he probably was the one that was finished then at the end of that.
Yeah, you're probably right. I completely forgot about C bonus.
Yeah, because that was something that I was kicking myself for because if I got a poltergeist and C bonus, if I got that lucky, then I would have had that like right there. Because just when you ended, I caught the ancient poltergeist, and I already did E3. So
Wow.
yeah.
Insane.
So if
Good
I
job
would have
to
gotten
both
that luck,
runners.
then I
That
would have
was
had
crazy.
it. Yeah, if I went
GG's
to
to
D3,
runners. That was,
I would have won.
GG.
I think, putting both of you guys, you two, in bingo game that easily made this the most competitive and probably the most exciting bingo game we've ever had.
It's a recipe
Yes,
for
I'm
quite
glad
a
it was that
show.
way.
I'm just that good. So are you. Good work, man.
Well, I guess if we don't have anything else to say, we can hand it over then.
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
Right.
sure.
Thanks for having us.
All right.
Mhm,
Yeah.
yeah,
thank you
thank
very much for running.
having me specifically.
This was very intense, and I still need to get over this intenseness. But we've
take
got
a
some time
while.
for this now. We've got some time for this now. So yeah, thank you very much for running this. Thank you for once again showing off Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. Go make sure to follow the runners, and we will be back after a short intermission.
You are self-consumed, no talent, mediocre piece of shit. Hey, fuck you, man.
So what happens with these trials is there's multiple phases. So there's a phase 1, a phase 2, a phase 3. The first one, you're just looking for a dose that works. Like you test a range of doses on a group of people to find the optimal dose. In phase 2, you're doing safety and efficacy. You test more people to see how safe it is at that dose. And then you go to the big trial, which is the phase 3. So that one, it recruits either 30,000 people or 45,000, depending on the thing. And the groups are split into at least 2 different subgroups, if not more. And half of them get the vaccine, half of them get the placebo. And they're monitored for illness. And basically, once a certain number of people get ill or report feeling ill, that's when they look and see, of the people who got ill, how many got the vaccine, how many got the placebo. And based on that, that's where we get the efficacy numbers from.